Beep, 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 beep. Welcome to Court of the EDI Jester. How are we, good peeps? Right, okay, now. Ooh, I've got an absolute humdinger for you today. A humdinger, as they say. I hope everybody's all right. Please do come and join the team and become a warrior teacher. Links are in the doobras, all right? Here we go. Right, this is, I've already spoken about this marvellous woman before called Dr. P, right? Or Psych Girl 211 at Psych Girl 211 on the old Twitoids, right? So, this is Dr. P talking about puberty blockers. So what Dr. P is saying is, let's talk about the impact of puberty blockers on brain development and functioning. Buckle up, folks. This is going to be a long thread. I love the way she writes. I love it. She talks like that as well. She's great, feisty. We like feisty folk. We do, right? So, the tweet thread begins. To understand what puberty blockers do to cognitive development and IQ, you first need to understand what IQ is, how it is constructed, and how it's measured. The following explanation is of one model of IQ. There are others, okay? Definition. IQ is a property of the mind encompassing many related intellectual abilities. For example, the capacities to reason, to plan, to solve problems, to think abstractly, and to comprehend ideas, to use language, and to learn. Right? When you bring all these things together, when you bring all those different things together, these factors determine the individual's ability to act purposefully, to think rationally, and to deal effectively with their environment. This is their IQ, or their level of cognitive function. The average IQ falls between 85 and 115. That's the average IQ. Right? Bit worrying, isn't it? I'm kidding. That's the average IQ. Do you remember 80 and I know this is. I'm just going to have a short diversion. 80 and 3. You remember? Wasn't there a character in it called 81 or something? Because he had an IQ of 81. He was a bit of a dipshit. Do you remember that? 80 and 3. Moving on, Dr. P continues to explain to us what's happening. Types of IQ. Intelligence can be split into two subtypes. This is brilliant. Crystalline, brackets GC, and fluid, brackets GF. GC, crystalline IQ, is learned or acquired knowledge. Example, when was the Magna Carta signed? I always prefer where was the Magna Carta signed, personally, because then you can say at the bottom. Yeah. When was the Magna Carta signed? What is the name of the Earth satellite? This crystalline, not IQ, is heavily dependent, as the good doctor says, on education. She's on the same page as me right now. GC remains stable and or increases over time as knowledge is gained. GF is related to novel problem solving. For example, how to put up an IKEA wardrobe or how to plan a journey from, say, Cornwall to Aberdeen. GF increases as the brain matures from childhood to adulthood. Hey, Dr. P, you've been reading Piaget? We're going to cover him on the course. Because GF measures novel problem solving, it is largely independent of educational attainment. So it's more about the use of it, the use of knowledge. IQ is usually measured using the 3 Wechsler scales. WIPSI, young children, 2 to 7, WISC children, 6 to 16, and WES adults, 16 to 91. There are between 10 and 15 subsets aggregated to give the overall full-scale IQ score. The test also yields separate index scores, right? So IQ is complicated. It's one of the best indicators, actually. IQ still remains stable. It's one of the best indicators. So the impact of puberty blockers on that, this is something you need to consider. Puberty blockers are given when the brain is maturing through the creation of neural connections and the laying down of fatty tissues. It's got another meaning to me altogether. Right, fatty, or myelination. Puberty blockers interrupt this process. The following table shows the cognitive decline in a Brazilian child over 3 years on Lupron. Now you can then look at the image that the doctor has provided, Dr. P has provided for us here in the tweet, right? So you can see exactly what's going on. her score fell from 80 to 70. That's nearly 10%. From low average to borderline learning disabilities. Her performance also fell on every index score. This is unprecedented. It is really important to know that IQ is a very stable construct. It does not change significantly over lifespan. Using the various scales, IQ should be roughly the same measured at age 5, 25, 55 or 85, i.e. you're stuck with it, right? There will be some small changes depending on external factors like fatigue, rapport, testing conditions, etc. These are accounted for by reporting the confidence interval. But generally, IQ does not change significantly over the lifespan, unless there is an insult to the brain. Insult being a technical term. Head injury, infection, or disease, IQ absolutely should not be dropping by 10 points over 3 years. In 30 years of giving hundreds of IQ tests, I have only seen such a decline once, a few weeks ago, in a man with severe autism. Otherwise, a fall of this magnitude without a head injury, tumour or other disease process is simply unprecedented. This finding alone, in this single child, should have been enough to immediately halt all administration of puberty blockers worldwide until more data was collected. In medical terms, this is almost as unusual and alarming as if her blood type or fingerprints had changed. But here's more evidence. Below shows an average 7-point drop in IQ of 25 kids after 2 years on puberty blockers. We are damaging our children as a species. The rate of decline is consistent with the Brazilian finding. It's not an artifact of testing. Something very serious and dangerous is happening as a result of puberty blockers. This data is known, the information is out there, yet puberty blockers are still being pushed as affirming and life-saving care for children. In reality, puberty blockers are causing significant and possibly irreversible brain damage. They are impacting both the types of IQ that were described earlier by myself and that are explained fully by Dr. P in the tweet. All children should routinely have their IQ tested at the beginning of treatment and periodically whilst on puberty blockers, but gender clinics are not collecting this data, so the true scale of the disaster in terms of the cognitive damage to children is not yet known. It's possible these children's IQs are continuing to fall. A 10-point drop is the difference between getting a degree or not. A 20-point drop is the difference between living independently or staying at home with parents because you cannot manage life without help. This is a scandal of unprecedented and unimaginable proportions, but there's also mounting evidence that cross-sex hormones are also causing a decline in IQ in adults, even after the critical myelination process is complete. That's age 25 to 30. I will do another thread on that, says the good doctor. There's more, it continues, and you can continue to read it. I will provide it for you as usual in the Dubris. Now, for those, somebody asked me what the Dubris. You can see just under the video it says what the video is about and then the word more. If you click on the word more, that's where you find the information. Thank you for listening. Please do check out the tweet by Dr. P. It's a very important thread and one that I think that we should be paying attention to. When is this going to stop? When is this iatrogenic harm going to stop? We're beginning to see it happen in Australia, America, New Zealand and the UK. But we still do not have a leader, right? Except for that Milei guy in Argentina, it seems, who is going to stand up and say, this ends and it ends now, and completely eradicate critical social justice from the public sphere. We'll have to wait and see, won't we, folks? But we keep fighting, all right? Come be a warrior teacher. I'll see you all later. Bye-bye.